Okay, so hello everyone. So let's continue with our topic. In the previous session, we have seen about the indexing, and so far in indexing, we saw about different types of indexing. And so, if you remember, we have already done a discussion on multi-level indexing. So now let's continue the topic further, and we are at the end of this topic now. So today's topic is our dynamic multi-level index. Okay, dynamic multi-level indexing. So actually, we have already got an idea on what actually the indexing is, and we understood in the previous session, like we can move on to what is the input output cost for your multi-level indexing, searching for element in multi-level indexing. But right now, see, so far we have seen like we have the secondary storage, that is disk, where we have the blocks, and inside the blocks we have the records. This is we have seen, right? This, then what we does it did is created a page, or say index basically, right? In operating system we say this as a page. Now this is an index over here. Again we have the blocks, right? We understood about different categories of indexing. One of them is your sparse index and other is your dense index, right? We understood what's the difference between them. So in case of dense index, we saw that when we have unordered list over here, the attributes are unordered and these are not sorted. In that case, we have to create the dense index. For example, secondary index over your ordered pair. In that case, we can say we use the dense index. And what actually the dense index is, we creating the index for every record in the block, right? So it means what? The size of your disk, it will be equals to the size of your index in that case. Although we try to minimize this size, right? But this size will remain the same, right? Because this size is what? The size of your block. How much means one record size? For example, one record size is your let's say 1024 bytes. In index we have only two, you can say, the attribute. One of them is your anchor attribute, that is over here, and other is your pointer, right? So this size we have anyhow managed to reduce, right? So but this size remains the same. This is equals to this here. Why? Because we have the dense index over here, right? So in that case, what we actually understood is we create another index. Since we create the index, so this anchor field is always sorted, that is ordered field, right? It's a sorted. So in that case, what we did is we create the index, and now this index will be what? Sparse index, isn't it? Right? And again, if our records are too many in length, right? So our first level index will be okay, exactly the same number of record. The second will be less number of record, and in that case, further we can extend to further indexing, right? So this is what indexing we have done, multi-level indexing. Right now, try to understand where this dynamic multi-level indexing comes here is in this part only, right? Means what? This multi-level indexing we manage, because the thing is actually here we understood that we have created and we have kept what? Our anchor attribute, right? So these are all anchor attribute here. There also we have anchor attribute. So now if we want to search element in the anchor attribute, then what we have to do? Definitely we have to check out all the fields in this one, which means that particular element will be present in which index page or say index file over here, right? So we need fast searching technique so that we can identify that the particular value for the respective record, right? So we manage this thing, this complete indexing, with the help of data structure. Actually we use that, and that is called your B or B plus tree. These are data structure which are managed for your indexing page, so index files, you can say, right? Okay, so fine. In this we understood where we use dynamic multi-level indexing. So this is what your multi-level indexing, right? And standard data structure that is used for dynamic multi-level indexing is your B and B plus tree, right? So, okay, but before understanding this dynamic multi-level indexing, the data structure actually, we will try to understand first, have an idea why we use B or B plus tree. Like we have other data structures also. We have binary search tree, right? We have, if you know, we have other AVL tree as well. We have red and black tree, if you remember your dictionary data structure and all those. So why we are then going to balanced search tree? Actually, B tree, the word B stands for balance here, right? So now let's understand why, what's the difference between them. So going back to the data structure part, probably you might remember this thing. First one is called a search tree. Um, what is actually the search tree? Remember, in the search tree, the organization of data is in a tree format that we know, right? But how the data is organized? For example, if this is a k element, right? So in search tree, all the elements which are present in this side, let's say some x element is there, this element is less than k, and all the elements which are present in this side, for example, x will be what? Greater than k, right? So this is called your what? Binary search tree, BS tree, that is binary search tree, right? In this binary search tree, we understood that the data is all in the sorted order, right? So that's why binary search tree. So it means what? Every parent key, remember, every parent key is more than the keys of the left subtree, right? And this parent key is less than every key on the right subtree. That is your binary search tree, right? So for time complexity, if you remember, time complexity is equals to what? Your height, right? So what is the height of your binary search tree, right? And this is equals to same for your best case and as well as your average case, which is equals to what? Order of log n, if you remember. Log n or log h, say the height of your tree, right? And worst case, if we go back to the data structure, data algorithms, algorithms part only, the worst case complexity will be what? What do you think? For a binary search tree, the worst case time complexity, if you have n elements, yeah, it is order of n, right? You cannot go exceed beyond order of n. In that case, you need to search for every element, compare every element, right? Okay. So this is what? Search tree. Now understand what is balanced search tree. Balanced search tree, which is also called as, remember, height restricted search tree. Height restricted search tree. There is other name, so don't confuse whenever you find such name, right? So maximum height of search tree with n distinct keys here should be order of log n. So height will be in order of log n, right? And in worst case also, remember, for this balanced search tree, the worst case also, your complexity, or say the height, will be order of log n, right? Means what? The height is restricted, you cannot take the height beyond a certain value. For example, we say, right, if you remember, height restricted, we know, um, if you remember about AVL tree, right? In AVL tree, we calculate what? A balancing factor, right? So that balancing factor should be either -1, 0, or 1, if you remember, right? If we found a particular balancing factor for is specific node is out of these two value, these three value, then we say this is what? Balanced, right? So remember, there is a general question that used to ask, like, why we are not using AVL tree? Because that is also what? Balanced, right? We find the balance factor, right? Then why we are not using that AVL tree? Rather, we are using B tree and B plus tree, right? So see, there are two categories. For example, one is your balanced binary search tree. So balanced binary search tree includes what? For example, binary search tree, we have AVL tree, and we have red black tree. If you know about this red black tree, there are some specific kind of trees algorithms are there, right? So what are these balanced binary search tree? Here we have a node, right? in the node we have two pointer, one, and this two pointer is child pointer, this is parent node, right? So our degree of node is what? 2 over here. Remember the term degree of your node is 2. You say degree, or even you can say order also. Order means how many maximum number of child you can have, right? So that is what 2 over here. Every node, for example, we say, right? In this case also here, two pointers will be there for your child node, and in this way. This is called your balanced binary search tree. See, binary is there, right? So you cannot have more than 2 over here, more than 2 childs, right? And other is called your balanced search tree only. Balanced search tree. And this includes your what? B plus tree, etc. And we have M-way search tree if we go more in depth about your data structures part, right? So what it is actually, in this one, in B plus tree, remember this order is not fixed. In binary search tree we have fixed this order, say the degree 2. We can have order or say degree equals to 3, 4, 5, and so on. We can have as many orders. So in this way we use over here, for example, this way, right? So you can have as many values, one in this case, and like this, right? So order is not fixed here, and that is why, due to this reason, we will see that, see, understand, when we are understanding in this one indexing, right? So we are, what we are having multiple blocks over here, right? And we have multiple record, right? So for every record we have record pointer over here, and we have this anchor attribute, yes or no? So what it means, for every record it is must that we should have a pointer over here, right? And due to this reason, remember and understand, let's understand this in more in depth. For example, I will just tell you why B and B plus tree are used for database indexing rather than balanced binary search tree. See, remember these few points that we have already understood, and we know that data access is from your disk, that is block by block, yes or no? So this is what we are accessing from the disk, block by block. Database file stored in the disk, right? So that the index to the database file also must be in the disk. So whatever index page or index file we are making, these are also available in the disk over here, right? Just try to understand. We have a practical example. For example, we have some book over here, right? Let's say this is our database book only, right? So inside the book we have what? Index page first, and then we have the rest of the content. So isn't it like there is a separate book for indexing, and then separate book for your what, the other content of your data, original data book? No, we all have all these things in the single book only, right? So that is why our indexing will be also in the same disk over here, where we have our data. That is, this index is called as sometimes metadata, right? So that's the data about your data, right? Index file access also block by block we have seen from your disk to the main memory, right? So remember, if AVL tree is used for database indexing, then there is a big disadvantage over here, AVL trees, because what? Height balanced tree, right? Height restricted. Each block contains only one key, so large number of blocks are formed, due to which more IO cost will be there. See, this statement is very important. Each block contains only one key. This is what record pointer here. So if we have the record pointer, means this is what the pointer we will be having. And these are what? These are just the block pointers. Means through this block you can go to this block. Through this you can go to this block. Again, we have only one record pointer, one record. So you can assume, you can just visualize, for if we have 10,000 records, so how many you can have the levels, how many level will be there in AVL tree, right? So this is the very big disadvantage if you have more level. So definitely in that case we need to go to the more, in this case, right? So you need to go more back in the indexing, multi-level indexing. So more you need to look, more you need to take the block. That is what IO cost will be high, and that is what actually we don't want here in this case, right? So this is the reason why we don't use AVL tree over here, and this is a big advantage in BB plus tree, because order is not fixed. We have the variable order, right? So in a node, as per the element we want, we can add over here. We are not restricted to that, right? So if B-tree is used for the database index, less IO cost will be no, there to access the record, because of the level of index will be very less. So we will be having very less number of levels over here, right? So I hope you have understood. Any doubt, just let me know. Now let's see a few definitions. We'll see the construction, the structure part of these binary, sorry, B plus T. And B stands for balanced, right? So balanced search tree, say balanced tree. Okay. We define order by P. Means what? Maximum possible child. You can write maximum possible child pointer. Right, maximum possible child pointer in the B tree node. And we say R as a record pointer, right? Record pointer, basically that connects, this is the one that connects to the database block, right? So this is what, now let's see what is the node structure, because see, this is what your tree, right? So there should be a node structure over here, right? So this is what a single node. See, right. So see, remember, these are what binary search tree means. In a single node, we contains only one data, right? And this is what the disadvantage. But in B tree, we have multiple data inside, and this is possible, right? So this is possible. It's not like that we have, you have seen tree data structures before, and you might have seen there is only single node, single value in this in the node, right? So we can have multiple values as well. There is nothing, no. Okay, so let's see what is the node structure of your B tree. See, let me just draw. We have B, that is block pointer. Okay, let me just draw. Okay, see, this is the node structure. Let me again extend it. All the values here, x will be less than k1. And so on. And for the last one, yeah, right. So this is what your block pointer means. It will point to the next block that you will be having in this level. K1 R1. K1 is the key and R1 is the record pointer, right? So this is what record pointer means. This will be the key value for this record, and it means you will be having a key and one pointer will be there, right? So that pointer will point to what the the database block where your actual record is kept, right? So in that case, in the same way, we have K2 R2, then B3 block and so on till BP minus 1, KP minus 1, R minus 1, and then BP block pointer, right? There is one extra, see, you can see here how many starting from your key value from 1, the key value starting from 1 till what? P minus 1, right? These are what key. And B block pointer, that is from B1 to P. So 1 to P, these are what? Block pointer, right? So remember, again, see, if you remember the structure of your tree, the same, we have one something called as internal nodes, and other is called your what? Leaf node, right? Either you have internal and then we have the leaf node over here, right? So remember, there are a few formulas that you need to keep in mind. These formula you haven't understood in your data structure. Every internal node except root, every internal node except root, at least P by 2 and seal. these number of block pointers are used, and p by 2 seal minus 1 keys are used, right? And at most, remember, at most p blocks, like this, at most p blocks and p minus 1 keys. I will just show you, I will understand this with the help of a numerical example, then will take. Means every internal node, this is for your internal node. Except root, we are not including the root node, right? So root node is on the top. We have at least p by 2. P is what? Remember this term. P is what? Your maximum possible giant pointer. That is the order actually that we are given, right? So I will just show you with the help of example. Also, we have root node can be about the root node, because we have excluded root node over here. For root node, remember we have at least and we have at least and at most values. So remember, a root node can be at least 2 block pointers and 1 key, right? So at least two what, a block pointer and 1 key. This is what root node have. And at most, how much at most we have? P block and same p minus 1 key, right? This is what about your node, that is what node structure, right? This we have understood about internal node, but let's see about leaf node also. Let me just write on your page. Remember, every leaf node must be at the same level. We know that thing, right? But there is a splitting. We will understand, and this is very important, when the leaf will split in B plus B tree, right? So let's say we have a key value R1, K2 R2, K3 R3, and so on. Let's say K14 R14. How many 14 elements are here, right? If we want to insert, we want to insert 15th element. Let's say our order is what, 14 only, means in a node we can accommodate at most 14 child, and what 13 node, so it should be 15, isn't it? For 15 we can 15 you can have how many 15 you can have block pointers, but your key will be 15 minus 1, that is 14. So that is from k1 to k40 you have accommodated. But when you will insert 15 key, right, that is what, see, k1 less than k2 less than k3, we know that we insert the value. Remember, when we insert the value, these are all sorted, right? So whenever you insert any value in this node, these will be in sequence, that is in sorted order, right? So k1 less than k2 less than, let's say, k18 will k8, sorry, k8 will be here, and then k9 and so on k14, isn't it? Right. So this node, this k8 value, k8 value will be what, splitted. So we are going to split this value because we have exceeded our order. We have exceeded. See, when we insert any element in the node, remember about the data structure. We think of two condition, right? So first condition is called your overflow, and second condition is called your underflow. Just remember about, you are very familiar with this one if you know about linked list, when you write a program, right? Or stack even. So what is overflow and underflow? When we check this condition, for example, I want to perform the insertion operation, I want to put insert them some values. So which condition will check, or underflow or overflow, right? So you should know that. So when we perform the insertion operation, we always check for overflow. And when we perform the deletion operation, we check the underflow. So when we want to insert, we should check that, let's say our capacity, isn't it the insertion value is beyond our capacity, right? So this value we insert, our container will overflow, right? So that overflow condition we have to check, and we perform the deletion, we check underflow. isn't it? Like, so if our stack is already empty, right, so how we can perform the deletion operation, how we can delete something? It's an underflow condition, is nothing is already there, so how you perform the deletion? You cannot. So we need to check that underflow condition. In the same way, when we inserted the 15th element, right, we reached to the overflow condition already when extra element we have placed, right? So let me just stop over here. Let me tell you two different techniques we actually use over here. The one is, for example, we can have two different approach. When I insert a new element inside my single node in binary tree, b tree, right? So the first approach is, I will go back and I will change the structure of my node. That is what I will change the order. I will change my order from 15 to 16 and I will accommodate that. This is my one approach. The second approach is, I will insert the value, right? I will just put the value. For example, I will simply insert the value somewhere. It will 15th will so 14 elements, so somewhere 15 element will be here, right? And then I will check that whether my situation is underflow, means is my out of capacity or not, right? Is it overflow? If it is overflow, then I will perform some other action. So the second approach is what we are going to follow. We will first insert, and when we after insertion we will check that is our are we having overflow condition or not. If we are having overflow condition, then we are going to perform split operation. We are going to split our node in that case, right? So how split is done? Take the middle value, right? So take the middle value and make a new node for that. That is k8 over here, right? We can have other values also, and then take the all the values over here, right? So we have k1, r1, and so on till what, k7, r7, right? And in this side we have rest of the values. That is k8 is here, k9, r9, and till what, k15, r15. In that case, when you can have other nodes also, capacity, that depends. So this is what how we split. Means we take the internal mod value, you can say mod is taken, new node is created, and you put the values in the new node. This is what the split, right? So here in this case, see here, we'll check this formula also. Minimum we can have a one key and two pointers, right, at root. And remember p by 2 that we have seen. For example, in this case, p by 2 is equals to what will be, p by 2 equals to 8 seal value, and p by 2 minus 1 seal value, that is what, 7 keys we can have maximum, right? So this is what actually just all about your understanding part of your node structure in case of b tree. Let's see with the help of an example, and we verify how we construct a b tree in this by using all these things that we have understood, right? Okay, so the question is like we need to, and see, remember this topic is complete numerical, right? You have to understand this, and question will be given as a numerical. They will ask you to construct a bit tree, right? So straightforward question is there. There's nothing like any theory over here. So question is, we need to construct a B tree with order, let's say 4, right? So order is 4, that is what maximum child pointer, and sequence is as follows. Sequence of keys 20, 60, 40, 80, 30, 70, 90, 10. See, these number can be out of order, unsorted, you can have, right? So now let's start. We order, that is what, p value is equals to what, 4. That is how many childs you can have, 4 child. right? And how many be key or say the data? Key or the data will be what? 4 minus 1, that is 3, right? So let's see now if we want to insert. So first number is 20, 60 and 40, right? So we have 20, it will be shorted, right? So 20, 40 and then 60, right? So we have inserted three element. Is there any overflow condition is there? See, when you design the algorithm for this part, right? So in algorithm you will understand that you check overflow condition during insertion every time when you insert a single element, right? So I have just inserted three at a time because I know that, okay, so the order is four over here, right? So you can have this value. But when I get 80 number, value 80, so it will add over here this way, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, fine, right? So see, you can have maximum three data point, right? But after out of three, you have another fourth also. That is what overflow condition, right? In that case, what you have to do? You have to perform the split operation, right? And one more thing. Now see, I told you need to find the mode. Here in this case, you have two values, 40 and 60, because the order given is even. So when odd order will be given, let's say 3 will be given, then you will just take out the middle element, the single. Here you have two options, right? So directly I have taken the difficult one. So that will be easy when we'll do the next. So out of 40 and 60, remember you can take any of the value. So that is called your left biasing and right biasing, right? That is actually in B plus T, we'll see that. But let's say I want to take the 40 value over here as a node, right? So I will split over 40. So it means what? My 40 will be somewhere here, right? And then the rest of the elements over here. We have 20, right? 20, okay, that is 20 only, and the rest element that it was 60 and 80. Okay, so this is what split operation we have performed over here. Now let's insert 30. So now see, 30 is what? Again, every element in the node will be in sorted order. So when we insert 30, we'll check whether 30 is less than or greater than 40. Less than, it will move over here. So we have 20 over here. So 30 will come after this. So everything is fine, no overflow condition. Then insert 70. So 70 greater than, it will come here 60, 80. So 70 will come somewhere 60, 70, and then 80 will come. Right. So nothing wrong with 70. I mean, still we are in the order. Now 90. So 90 will come greater than, it will come here. Right. So we'll add 90 over here. Now we check this is what in overflow condition. So now again we have two elements. So remember one thing, whenever you perform in the very beginning, the split, if you are taking this element, the left side, then in every split you have to take the left element. Now you cannot take 80 over here, you need to take 70. So when we'll take 70, 70 will go up, right? And it will add it over here, right? So newer tree will be what? 40, 70, right? And rest of the values, 20 over here, 30. This value will contain what? The 70 value, 60 over here, right? So we'll have 60, and then we have the rest of the element, that is 80, 90, this way, right? So okay, understood so far. We have taken 90. Now 10 value, we'll insert 10. So 10 is what? Less than 40 over here, it will come over here, it will be added in the beginning, that is 10 over here, right? So still in the same no overflow condition. 25 less than here, so we'll have 10, 20, 25 and 30 after insertion. So this is what? Again, overflow condition. We will again split out of 20, 25, we'll take 20, 20 will move up, right? And it will add it over here. So we will get 20, 40, 70. Yeah, right? Okay, in this case, and keep the node child values as it is. So 20 will go, we have 10 over here, so we will keep 10. For this one we have 25 and 30, so we have 25, 30, right? This is done now, and the rest of the values as it is. So for this one we have 60, and for this we have 80 and 90, that is right. So we have inserted what previously we inserted 25. Now 85 and 75. So first 85. 85, see where will go. 85 greater than 20, greater than 40, 70 greater than this. So we have 80, 85 and 90. Right. Then 75. So 75 again greater than 70. In this side we'll add over here. So that is 75. So we have 75, 80, 85, 90. So again this will what? Overflow. This is for this node. Right. So again overflow means we'll split. Out of 80, 85, we'll take the 80 and we'll take the value up. Right. So let me just draw 20, 40, 70, and then we have what 80. This way. Right. And the rest of the values 10 here, 25, 30 here. Let me draw just roughly. And again after splitting, see after splitting you have 75 and these values as what 85 and 90. But see again check this node, this is what overflow, isn't it? We have four nodes, so we'll again split, same technique, this 40 will be taken as a root, right? So will 40 go upwards, right? And we have the rest of the value, that is 20 for this one, and this is what the rest of the value 70 and 80. Yes, right. Okay, and for this 10 will be here, we understood, and this will be what your 25 and 30. Yes, and for this one we have which value 75, isn't it? This uh, just wait, no 60, this one 40, 70, 60, 40, 70, that is 60 over here, right? And this is what you are 75, and this is 85, 90, this way, right? So actually let me again draw this final tree. We will understand a few points. 40 here, 20, 70, 80, 10 value, 25, 30, 60, 75, and 85, 90. That is right. So this is what our final B tree. Right. So this is how we construct the B tree from the given value, given node value. Right. So I told you in the node structure. See here, along with the key we have the record pointer also, right? So what actually happens when you construct this level, right? See, this is when you construct this level, under this what we have, the record, that is your database file record, right? So in this one we have, let's say 25, then 10, we have 30, 14 the sequence, 20, 75, 60, 70, 70, 85, 80, 90, let's say on so on. And after this we have rest of the values in the attribute. These are all the attribute values, these are kind of key values, right? These, right? So you have 25 here, we have record pointer, this record pointer will point to this 25, this 10 record pointer will point over here, 30 record point, this is key value K, and this dot is your R value, that is pointing to this one. 60, you have 60 over here, 75. In this way, we design the construct this part, this one, and for all the nodes, whatever in the data you have, right? So for 20, we have, we'll go here, 70, we will go over here this way. For 80, we'll go over here, right? And 40 is here. So in this way, this is the way how we construct. And see, this is what, let's say, your first level index. This is what your second level index. This is what your third level index, right? So we'll start searching in this way, right? So we'll move on to the tree in this way. So this is the way how we perform the indexing, right? So remember one thing, B tree index is best suitable to access any one record randomly. Remember, this is randomly. There is a reason why we have B plus tree. When we have the random access, for example, I'm writing a query, select start from let's say some table R, where A equals to 75, let's say. It means what, randomly I am choosing any element or say any record over this one, that is one record, right? So worst case input output cost. Remember, what will the worst case input output cost? If you have K level, then it will be what, K. You need to go to the all the K, all the level plus one. You know why plus one? One is for if you find the record, you will search in the record file over here. That is plus one. So basically, it's order of K. How many level, that you have understood already, right? So K is number of level of your index tree. Best case input output cost. So these are the points they may ask you in the exam, probably in MCQ or any other way. That will be what, order of one. Constant time, minimum 2 block access, for example. Initially you got, and you got in the leaf node itself, right? So that is what, order of one. But there is a drawback. I mean, why we, if we understood like B tree, we can form the indexing in this way, then why actually we are moving to the B plus tree? What's the significance of using B plus tree? The reason is, there is this B tree is not perfect for every kind of situations, right? Remember, B tree index is not suitable for sequential access range of record. For example, if I have looked for, let's say, 45 element, I'm looking for 45. My search query next is 46, then 47, 48, and so on. Means my search query is in sequence now. I want to search for 45, then I want to go to 46, 47, and 48. So with the help, so if you use the B tree, you will go to the 45. Yeah, we have find out. Then what? Again, when we search for 46, although we'll see that this 46 is just adjacent to 45 in the node, because we know that inside the node elements are sorted. This is just adjacent. But what we are doing, we are going to root. Again, we are checking whether left or right, again left or right, and then we are ultimately reaching the 46, isn't it? Right. So what approach we can use is, when we search 45 and our next query is 46, we directly just switch to the next value inside the node. I mean to say, we can move inside the node now. This is what a room we find out in the B tree, where ultimately B plus tree um, does that, right? So multiple sequence access means, for example, if you remember, like if I write a query, select start from R, where a value is greater than equal to 30 and a value is less than equal to 75, or a level between 30 and 75, the query So this is what, this is your what, sequential access, right? In sequential access, any value after 30, 31, 32 till 75, you access all the record, right? In that case, for example, X record you want to access over here, X records, right? So if you use this B tree over here, so what will be the estimated access cost? Estimated access cost if you use the B tree, that is what, X number of element time you will travel k plus 1 what levels. That is what order of x into k. Right. So this order is, this order is very large. We can ultimately we can minimize this with the help of B plus tree. Right. So remember, B tree is best suitable for when you are searching an element that is a random. But if you are looking for a sequential elements number, then definitely it's not the good choice for. Right. So let me know if you have any doubt in this one. There is a question that generally used to ask. Um, the question says that it's an example. Let's say order given is 3. Means data you can have maximum 3 minus 1 equals to 2. Right. And the given data points are 10, 3, 6, 8, 4, 2, and 1 small value. The question used to say that maximum number of time, how many? The maximum number of time leaf node would get split up as of insertion. Right. So when you perform the insertion operation, the maximum number of time leaf node will split. And when it splits, obviously when we perform the insertion, right? So how many times the leaf node will split? That order is 3 over here. So we can say first 3, okay, 3, 6, 10. That's fine. But you insert 8. That means 8 and 10. Now in this case, this is overflow. So we split, let's say I'm taking in the 6 side, right? So we have 6 over here. Then we have 3. See, this is split, isn't it? So we have performed one split over here. And this is what initially, remember, initial node is what? It's an internal node also. It is a leaf node also. It is root node also. So definitely we will count initial node. So where there is a one split. After this, what elements we have? 8 and 10. So we perform the next insertion, that is 8. Oh no, 8 we already have. 4. 4 is less than this, 3. After then 4 over here. Then we have 2. 2 less than here. So 2 goes here. Fine. Right. Still there is no split. Now 1. So 1 will less than this. 1 will move here. Again, this is what? Overflow. And will perform split operation. Right. So when we split, let's say move 2 upwards, we have 2, 6. When 2 will move upwards, we'll have 1 over here, 3 comma 4, and 8 comma 10. That is no overflow. Right. So how many split operation we have performed? 2. So the answer is 2 here. Same question you can do with the help of B plus tree also. We'll do that. Right. So this is how the questions are generally asked. Right. And you can easily solve. B tree construction is very easy. But again, you will see a lot of questions are asked, whether it's your um, BTech exams or whether it's your competitive exams. More of the questions are generally asked from B plus tree rather than B tree. But again, when we'll do B plus tree, concept of B tree are widely used over there. So it's very important to understand B tree first, then B plus tree. So that is for B tree over here. In the next session, we'll start with the B plus tree. But again, there is a requirement to solve a few questions of B tree that we will do, right, in the other live sessions. And okay, that is for today. In the next session, we'll start with B plus tree. Let me know in case you have any doubt to ask in this topic. Okay, so yeah, thank you all. Let me stop recording.